Welcome to Three Geeks Podcast, Episode 7.
Three geeks.
Three geeks.
Three geeks. Live.
And there's our usual our little audio entrance, a little, I guess, theme song at this point, even though it's not consistent. You're getting close.
Yay.
I have a cold today, so...
Yeah, so it's myself, Dan, Jason, and Max will be joining us mobile, I'm guessing, until he can, I don't know. Well, I don't think he'll make it back before, so he won't get to be, in-house. I don't know. We need to come up with a mobile name for Max.
Mobile. It's French.
He's a nomad. Max the Nomad. Max the Nomad. I watched a couple of good movies this weekend. I want to talk about real quick. Spy was freaking amazing. Jason Statham did what Arnold and Stallone could never do, which was a comedy. He is funny in the movie, and it's not him necessarily that's funny. He's so over. He's kind of overacting, but he's playing the macho role to the extreme, which makes it funny. Like he's not, slapsticky, pregnant, or has his mom running around trying to shoot people, telling her to stop. He is playing the role super serious, and it's because he's playing it serious that the comedy works. And I highly recommend Spy. And I have to admit I haven't seen Paul Feig's other movies with Melissa McCarthy, but if they're anywhere near as funny as this is, then I need to watch The Heat and Bridesmaids because this movie was really good. And then The Wedding Ringer with Kevin Hart and Josh Gad, I thought that was really funny too. And it's one of Kevin Hart's not so popular movies. It's rated really low on Rotten Tomatoes, but I thought it was really funny. So if that is the least popular of his films, then I am missing something huge because I thought the guy was funny, and I highly recommend both of those films to anybody who likes comedy.
I'll definitely have to check that out. Yeah, I wanted to watch Spy, I just didn't make time for it.
It'll be on my Vudu account at the end of today, so.
Nice. But yeah, and what else? Yeah, Wedding Ringer? Okay, I'll have to check that out. I was hesitant. I wasn't sure. It's interesting that you like that because you're not if I remember correctly, Wedding Ringer is the Will Ferrell movie, isn't it?
No, it's, Spy Hard, which was also really funny. But, no, it's the, Get Hard. Spy Hard is Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, Spy Hard is Leslie Nielsen.
Spy Hard's Leslie, yeah. Get Hard,
no,
that's what it was.
It's Josh Gad, who is the voice of the snowman in Frozen. It's got Hurley from Lost, Jorge Garcia, and Kevin Hart, and Kevin Hart is so funny. It's about a guy who doesn't have any friends, so he hires Kevin Hart to be his best man. And he's also got to hire groomsmen because this guy has literally nobody that's friends with him. It's funny. It's kind of like a cross between I Love You Man and Hitch.
Nice.
But I think funnier than both.
Cool.
So yeah, Kevin Hart, funny guy, apparently.
Yeah, I can't really say. I didn't really catch anything really interesting or geeky that I really want to talk about, so I can't really say anything. Dan?
Well, since you last saw me, I watched Ringu and Rasen, the Japanese versions of The Ring, and their kind of meh sequel.
Oh, so the Rasen's the sequel?
Yeah, they made Ringu, and then they made Rasen, and then they made Ringu 2, and then Ring 0.
Okay.
So, yeah. I really liked the 1 and 2. Ring 0 is like the whole backstory. But it's kind of like this weird... Like the boyfriend of the main chick dies in the Japanese one. Actually, like he did in the American version, too. But he gets sent to the medical center to figure out what went wrong, and they figure out that it's you actually get part of the smallpox virus from the video, and you contract it optically when you watch it. It doesn't make it was okay until like the very end, and then it just like fell out the bottom of the thing. It was like, oh no.
Oh wow, yeah, that that just sounds bizarre. Interesting though.
Then they're like, well, we never made that one, so we'll just go back and make Ring 2.
Ah,
I like the remake of Ring, so maybe I need to watch the Japanese version.
Watch the original, because the problem with the remake is that they killed off too many characters. So, in order to make Ring 2 work, they are vastly different.
Oh, I got you. So yeah, speaking of horror flicks, I didn't watch this very recently, but I watched the movie Unfriended over the last few weeks, and I know that movie is getting the right critical response that it should be, but I highly recommend, if you're looking for a horror flick, something original, Unfriended was a lot of fun. It's all done on a computer screen. I thought it was very well done. I expected it to be stupid, beyond stupid. Like, the whole concept is stupid, but it worked. I thought it was really fun, and an original take on the horror genre, and the whole found footage. It's not technically found footage, but, just the whole originality of doing it on a computer screen, I thought was really well done. So kudos to them. All right, so what we got, Philip? You're leading the charge today.
nice. Yeah. Nope, I'm not joining you on the Unfriended bandwagon. But I figured, we'll kind of got that horror thing going. We can start off with the Ash vs. the Evil Dead. So I guess they got a screener at the New York Comic Con, and I can't remember who the source was, but they basically reviewed the first episode. You can go out there, and if you search it, you can get the entire first episode if you want to spoil it yourself.
Can you?
Oh, the synopsis. Oh, no, not the video. The synopsis, written. So you have to imagine it all.
You got me excited for a few seconds, man.
The actual video? Yeah, no.
I was about to shut off the podcast and go search for it.
I mean, I'm sure if you search hard enough, you can find some grainy, horrible, pixelated video that may be worse than the actual show, but maybe that'll lower your expectations.
Some dude's standing up in front of you, and it's like, oh, come on, no, it's the important part. Come on, man.
Oh my, but yeah. So from my perspective, I was already excited. So I don't know if this really hyped me up anymore. But I know, Jason, you're absolutely thrilled for this show. So did you read it at all? What did you look at it?
I did, and the thing that fascinates me the most is that the reviewer said that it's actually scary. He says it's got the comedy that you would expect from Army of Darkness, but the terrifying parts are surprisingly extremely terrifying, probably more like the original, or the remake of Evil Dead. I thought was very terrifying, and it's a lot more geared there as far as the horror goes, with Ash thrown in, which is to me it's a perfect blend. I can't wait, and hearing that it's good just makes me even more excited. I'm disappointed that they're only 20 to 30-minute episodes. I was hoping for the whole 40-minute, typical drama, but whatever. I'll take it how I can get it. We're going to get 5 hours of it, so yay.
Dan?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds cool. I don't want to say, oh, this is going to be the greatest thing ever, and then have it come out and suck. 2 or 3 years ago, yeah, we're going to make an early Batman TV show, and it's going to be cool, and everybody's like, yay, and then you get Gotham. So yeah, it sounds awesome. They've got all the right stuff going, and some dude on the internet said it was good, so there you go.
Oh, that's so true. But yeah, I won't be able to see it because I don't think I'll have stars, but I'll definitely have to check it out.
Philip, you'll get to see it. I promise you, I will make sure you get to see it. But real quick, I was watching The Death of Superman Lives: What Happened, which we're hopefully going to have the director on this podcast sometime next month, and he's interviewing Tim Burton, and he's talking about Beetlejuice for a second, and his original choice to play Beetlejuice, this is going to blow your guys' mind, was Sammy Davis Jr.
What?
Can you imagine Sammy Davis Jr. as Beetlejuice? That just made my head just try to picture it.
No, that makes perfect sense, actually.
It'd just be so different, I think.
But it would be awesome.
Oh, yeah, I don't disagree there. It'd definitely be very different, though. That would definitely not be the same movie. That's interesting.
Sorry, Philip.
no worries. But so somewhat on continue on with our Gotham line, since Dan had the pleasure of mentioning it. Pee Wee Herman is going to play Penguin's father on Gotham. So from my perspective, I guess this kind of makes sense because they're both kind of quirky, and I think I could actually see Pee Wee Herman as his father. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how he pulls it off. I can't remember. I think he was also in. Gosh, what's his real name? It's not Pee Wee Herman, but I can't remember.
Paul Rubens, and he
Paul
actually
Rubens.
played. He actually played the Penguin's father in Batman Returns, also.
Yeah.
Oh, he did. Oh, okay. So it's a bit of a that's worse than treading on people's love and happiness. So Dan, how do you feel about that?
Yeah. Bringing in more famous people. That's what you need for Gotham. I mean, it's not, making a script and sticking to it. It's not, here we're gonna make this nice story arc, and instead of like we're gonna think one episode ahead. Bring more famous people. That's what you need. Rip off more famous plots. 50 Shades of Grey, whatever. There was some guy in Batman that was called the Joker. We're gonna make him a kid. Then we're gonna kill him.
You know what's crazy about Gotham? It's side note, but if you had told me 2 years ago that they were making Gotham and Supergirl, and you were to tell me that Supergirl was going to be the better show, I probably would have slapped you in the face. But now that I've seen Supergirl and I've seen Gotham, Supergirl is the better show, and that just blows my mind. But anyway,
Why am I not watching Supergirl?
I may or may not have come across the screener of it, Dan. I will let you borrow.
Oh, that's funny. So Jason, what are you thinking? Do you care?
No, you know what? Honestly, Paul Rubens has had a lot of just to clarify, or just to set the record straight, he was arrested for masturbating in an adult movie theater. No, a lot of people think that he molested a child or he did this, he did that. He didn't. He was in an adult theater with other adults, and they were watching a pornographic film. That's what happened. Like, I'm glad, especially now in this world, I'm glad that this guy who's getting a second chance, he finally gets to go back to Pee Wee. He still has that taint because nobody seems to know what actually happened. Like, my mother-in-law, when she heard that Pee Wee Herman was coming back, she made a comment about, the whole molestation thing, and I'm like, he didn't do that. He was in a theater with a bunch of adults. Sure, that's gross, but it's not any different than when other people do that. It's unfortunate that you just do it privately in your own home. That's all I'm saying. But the fact that the story has been so blown out of proportion and it affected his career that much, I think the guy is talented. I've seen him in Blow. I liked him in Mystery Men. I was a huge Pee Wee Herman fan as a child. My mom hated that, and as an adult, I've gone back and realized kind of why my mom didn't like it, because it's very adult humor that somehow got thrown out as a kid's thing. But, Paul Rubens, good for you, man. And I liked it when you showed up on the Blacklist, too. So keep up the comeback trail. I'm sorry that Gotham is your next stop, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say that he was good on Gotham. I couldn't remember. Like, he's familiar looking, but they dressed him up enough that you couldn't kind of tell initially.
You mean the Blacklist?
And the Blacklist. Yeah, sorry, what did I say?
Gotham.
Oh yeah, no, not Gotham.
No, see, Philip, Gotham makes nobody look good. I just know they're all good because they've been in other things.
That's not necessarily true, because I haven't seen Gotham since episode 3, but I remember the guy playing the Penguin was really good, considering what he had to work with. I don't know if that...
Considering what he had to work with. You see, you're already throwing in like hurdles that they have to jump over to look good.
True.
I love it. So to get us on a bit of a happier note, did you all watch the Jessica Jones trailer? Or at least the latest teaser, I guess.
I did. I thought it looked fun. I'm looking for it. It's Netflix. It's Marvel. Their last combination was good, so until I see it, you're not going to hear me say anything bad about it, because they know what they're doing. And I really like the actress, Kristen Ritter. I liked her on Breaking Bad, and I think she has a lot of talent, and I'm glad that she's finally going to get to showcase it on something, and I hope that it turns out to be as good as Daredevil was, because, yeah, it looks good.
Dan?
I haven't seen it. I'm just waiting for the damn show.
Okay. So I saw a few of their viral marketing, and there was a couple of them that were really kind of cool. Like one was her alarm was going off, and then like most people do, they want to hit snooze. Well, she goes to hit snooze and just destroys the entire clock. And then, but yeah, I definitely checked out the trailer. It looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. I was hoping Max would actually be here. It almost seemed like on cue. But I'm not sure if he's here or not because he's muted. So Max, you there?
I will delay for a second while we wait on Max, but did you see that the X-Files screened the first episode as well, and it got really good word of mouth too?
Yep, I heard it was very well. So Max, what do you think about the Jessica Jones trailer?
I think it's awesome. It looks like a lot of fun. They don't give you much, so we'll see. We'll see with what's his face is the Purple Man. I thought it was okay for a little trailer. If all we got is Daredevil to go off of, then I'm just gonna wait excitedly until it comes out.
Yep, I'm pretty much the same as Max. We got Daredevil, and we got the fact that Kristen Ritter is a pretty good actress, so I'm holding out hope.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely excited as well. All right, so let's see. Let's go with a story that is not really too surprising. I mean, I guess there's at least one or two of the guys are famous. Off the Firefly cast is absolutely game to return if they ever get another chance, whether that be a movie or even a television series. From that perspective, it doesn't really surprise me. The only one that's really famous, well, moderately famous, is oh gosh, the guy who plays Castle. Why can't I think of his real name?
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan
Jesus,
Fillion. There you go, Jason. You're the Nathan Fillion fanboy, so you go.
I watched the panel, and I think that Con Man, if we were ever going to get more Firefly, it's going to be because of Con Man. Con Man did really well in its fan fund on Kickstarter. They got the money they needed. The studios wouldn't back it. I think now the whole cast of Firefly is in the show Con Man. So I think if it was ever going to happen, now would be the time to happen. They just need to stop teasing us, because every year they get asked about season 2, and whether it's Nathan Fillion trying to buy the rights from Fox, or the cast saying how much they can't wait to come back and do more. I think right now the stars are aligned because Nathan Fillion will do it. He doesn't care about his Castle schedule. He said he would make it work. Joss Whedon, Marvel broke Joss Whedon, so maybe give Joss Whedon a few more months to recover from what happened. And yeah, I think they need to stop teasing us, or they need to either do it or don't. I want it to happen, but they keep just making fans excited for something that we may or may not get.
I got you, Jason. Yeah, you're either like do it or shut up, basically.
Bill,
Hey, Max?
you didn't know that Nathan Fillion is Jason's hall pass with his wife. Like, if Nathan Fillion ever wants to have sex with Jason, it's okay.
Oh, nice, Max. So, how do you feel about the Firefly cast?
It's not gonna happen.
Max, I'm not denying anything.
So there you go, Max. You got.
So unless it's actually happening, we really shouldn't hear anything, because like, it does nobody any good to be like, yeah, we'd love to do it, and it can't happen.
I do got to say, though, if Joss Whedon was ever going to pull something like this off or anything, like right now the studios, they have to want to get a hold of him because he just made 2 of the top, movies of all time in the 2 Avengers films. So, the studios are going to be actively seeking him. So if Joss Whedon wanted to make Serenity or Firefly, he could do it. So it's just a matter of maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe these guys are just, they don't want to piss their fans off because obviously they're there for a panel, so they're going to tell them what they want to hear. Maybe there's a reason they haven't done it, because if he wanted to do it now, I guarantee you it could get done.
Well, so it could be. It could just be the fact that you have to have a studio take that risk again, that people will watch it. Otherwise I think Netflix would probably be the best place for them. Dan, what are your thoughts?
My prediction is that in like 20 years they're finally going to make Firefly the Next Generation.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
And you'll have like half the fans really liking it and like half the other fans going, but I liked the old one when it was like more of a Western. and that Nathan Fillion guy was just shooting people left and right. And then he had a fight with the lizard man and hit him in the head with a rock.
Oh, oh my. So Dan, I think we might have to put this in a time capsule because that would not surprise me in 20 to 30 years.
Because, I mean, every year you hear this over and over. I mean, this could basically just fund Comic-Con for like 10 years.
Yeah,
oh,
right.
the cast of Firefly are going to talk. Are we going to make it again? Sure, let's all do it again. And then nothing happens. And then next year, you just do the same thing.
If you want your Firefly continuation, they have an online game that they all return to voice. And I've heard for a while, I think it was last year, there was actually traction for an animated series that they were actually close to getting off the ground, but then something happened and it fell flat. But
I mean, they should just start filming it in like Nathan Fillion's backyard. It's make like miniatures of cardboard ships. It's like.
But Nathan Fillion is totally not like just jerking people's chains. Like every chance he gets on Castle, he references Firefly. Like there's an episode for Halloween where he dresses up in his Malcolm Reynolds costume and he walks out and his daughter on the show is like, "Dad, what are you supposed to be?" He's like, "I'm a space pirate." And she goes, "Dad, that's so 20 years ago. Everybody's over it." And he's like, "No, they're not." I thought that was funny.
It was like the first season.
Yeah, nice, Max. Cassidy's solid. But no, Alan
It's been like
Tudyk
10
and
seasons since then.
Alan Tudyk and Adam Baldwin are both going to be on Castle this year, so I'm looking forward to that reunion of some sort. I like Adam Baldwin. He's been on the show before. He's pretty funny.
Oh, I love that. Was a little deep Castle love there, Jason.
So many Baldwins.
So I figure on the talk of Joss Whedon, the next story that's kind of going away is Infinity War's budget. When I saw this number, it didn't entirely surprise me, considering it's for both movies. But both movies are estimated budget at $1 billion.
You know what's crazy about that? Sorry,
Go ahead.
probably about the budget for casting for that is $400 million. Half of that is going to Robert Downey Jr. So Robert Downey Jr. by himself is making half of the budget for the entire cast. That's crazy, and I guarantee that his character is done after that. There's no way they're going to continue to pay him those stakes. That's a lot of money.
Oh, well, so I think at that point it becomes a negotiation, right? They go, okay, so instead of paying you all this, well, I don't know, man. I think it's worth it because they're paying $1 billion for that. They're probably going to make somewhere, assuming everything stays on the trajectory it's planned for, they're going to make some ridiculous, unfathomable number of money on each of those movies. It's going to be sick. And they're going to just be like, oh, okay, we lost $1 billion, but we made $9 billion.
Somebody asked me, they're like, is that really necessary? I'm like, well, if you think about it, you know, it is $1 billion, but it's half. It's $500 million for one movie and $500 million for the next. They're most likely bringing the Guardians into the film. The Hulk is going to be there. So, I mean, the CGI is going to be crazy. So the budget right there, I mean, it makes sense that it would be so high because there's a lot that they have to put into this film.
Yeah, and they're going to make it back. Dan?
Well, like $300 million has to go to like craft services, which only leaves with Downey's money, with only leaves $200 million for the special effects in both films. Because I mean, you're not going to have all these rich people standing around eating steakums, you know? I mean,
no, dude, they're gonna Easy-E Jerry Heller it. It's gonna be Robert Downey Jr. and the director eating lobster, while the rest of the cast is eating White Castle out of a abandoned trailer.
Nice. Max, you have any comments on the $1 billion Infinity War franchise?
Now, what I'm interested to know is, does this include the marketing?
Probably not.
So, I mean, after marketing, they're going to spend $2 billion on these movies.
Yep. And they're going to make $10 billion.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, I'm just saying, that's fucking crazy. Like,
From the art.
It's not
article.
crazy like, okay, it's a movie, blah, blah, blah. I understand it's bigger than people, but like $2 billion just to make a movie?
Yeah, two movies.
Whatever. It's one movie.
what I took out of it is Marvel has made so much money on their films, so Infinity War is kind of their way of thanking the fans. I mean, they want to make money, but they're doing it more as, the grand finale, give the fans everything they want out of their final film. I don't think they care so much about the profit margins on Infinity War. I mean, they couldn't. They're going to put $2 billion into it. They're going to break slightly even.
You're funny.
They'll make $1 billion, but
they'll make more.
If you want to thank the fans, if you want to thank the fans, you cut the budget a little bit, and then you have a free showing for a week. That's how you thank the fans, because you're still paying like $15 a ticket and $8 for friggin' popcorn.
You don't need the popcorn, fatty.
They don't care about you. They just.
Oh, that's awesome, Dan. Yeah, no, I honestly think they're going with this is a drop in the bucket, because if you look at the scale, at the rate of the money the amount these movies have made, and then that is going to have so much like you said, fan service, but it's also going to have so many well-known names by the time that comes out that if you have any investment whatsoever, you're going to want to go see this. I mean, it's going to become the it thing. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what Star Wars does in December. This will probably do more than that.
Yeah, and Marvel has done a good job of ignoring their TV universe in film, but when Infinity War comes out, can they really ignore it? Like they have to put Daredevil in that. I mean, I get it. Daredevil doesn't hold a thumb to freaking Thanos, but wouldn't you think that like the Shield agents and Daredevil and the whole universe they're creating on Netflix would almost have to join this fight? I would think that we're finally going to get the lighting of two worlds.
But like, all it would have to be is a cameo, and it wouldn't even, like they've had Samuel L. Jackson on the show. They've definitely the TV shows are affected by what happens in the movies. It's not a stretch to have the dude show up in the Daredevil costume for like 10 seconds and then knee somebody in the face and call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're just gonna have like Daredevil and Luke Cage and Iron Fist, just like looking at Thanos and stuff, and ships gonna be flying by. They'd be like, "Nope," like wander off.
When you're fighting random alien army, and it's like, okay, 2 Avengers, Daredevil, and Luke Cage hang around to pick off these 38 dudes, and Iron Man flies on, and yada yada. You can definitely, and there's so many people already attached to the Infinity Wars and the Civil War movie. Like, it's gonna be straight cameos. If they don't have any Daredevil cameo in Civil War, then it's gonna happen in Infinity War for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I definitely think Marvel will acknowledge. It'll be interesting. I think they'll acknowledge Netflix. Well, I mean, I guess Shield is accidentally acknowledged simply by the fact that it's Shield.
Yeah,
that's the
Samuel
one.
L. Jackson's been on that show.
That is true. I mean, as has quite a few, I think Kobe Smulders, I think that's her name. She's been on the show. I mean, quite a few of the people have made it to the show. It's just never, other than Agent Coulson, no one's made it from the show to the movies.
And then
Coulson never made it from the show to the movie.
No, that's what I was saying. I mean, well, Coulson was on the movies first, then to the show. So yeah, I guess.
Well, they didn't bring Coulson back for the second Avengers movie because they said that.
So was everyone else we just talked about.
Yeah, well, they said that they haven't brought Coulson back into the movies because Coulson's death was the whole reason the Avengers assembled. That as soon as they find out that he's alive, it's going to be about Coulson being alive than it will be about anything else. So that's one of the reasons. They haven't found a good way to bring him back into the fold without that whole thing going down, because that will be a thing in the movie. That would probably take up a lot of the time, is them being pretty pissed off about that being hidden from them.
I'm just going to leave that alone, because I very much doubt, with all the information Tony Stark's able to find, that he wouldn't have found that at this point, but that's okay.
Especially with all the money that Tony Stark is getting paid to be in this movie. he
Isn't that crazy?
Other than out.
And also, like, it's kind of funny, though, because if, they do a Coulson reveal in the movie, he's been like jet setting all over the planet
Yes.
for fucking like 3 years now, doing all kinds of shit that they never heard about.
Exactly. I don't know.
Like,
Man, what you just
like
said,
the Black
it made
Widow
me
super spy. Never heard about this.
right. Man, you just made me think of this. It's crazy. $200 million for Robert Downey Jr. They didn't even want him to play Iron Man. You realize that? Like when Iron Man 1 came out, they didn't want this guy, and now he is. Like they are gluing themselves to him. They don't want him to go, so much so that they're putting half their budget into his salary.
Oh yeah, it's an interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens after Infinity War. I do agree that at some point they're going to have to say no more, or they're going to have to restructure it to basically where it's some portion of the money made. But it'll be interesting to see if he's willing to do that. So let's go to another interesting story. I'm not sure if I'm excited for this or indifferent or what, but it's Steven Spielberg keeps hinting at an Indiana Jones 5. Did he rumor? I don't think he said who he wants as Indy. Did he, Jason?
Yes.
Or the next Indy.
So this is what I've heard. When Harrison Ford and Steven Spielberg signed on to do the fourth movie that none of us want to talk about, they signed on based on the strength of a script written by Frank Darabont. And so as soon as they signed on, George Lucas decided to scrap that script and write it himself. So from what I'm hearing now is Spielberg is extremely excited that Disney owns Indiana Jones and not George Lucas. So he wants to bring Harrison Ford back so they can kind of fix where they went wrong. And I was watching another podcast today, and they had a good idea. If you bring Harrison Ford back as like a bookend to the franchise and introduce the new Indiana Jones like in the middle, that could be an interesting way of passing the baton and still keeping the continuity going forward. So maybe they'll do something like that.
Interesting. Dan, you look like you're getting a headache.
Or you can just leave Indiana Jones in peace and just make a new IP that's kind of like it with somebody else. And it might have, Indiana Jones in it. But, I mean, what are you going to call it? The Indiana Jones movie where Indiana Jones is in it for 5 minutes?
You can. I
mean,
don't know.
Call it, I don't know, Dirk McLarge Nuts and the awesome temple of cool shit that he found while he shot a bunch of Nazis.
Okay. You stopped what I thought was going to be a pornographic movie name.
No. Not at all. It's got to be safe for the kids, with the weird Chinese dancers and people impaled on spikes and weird Aztec temples.
Yeah, I definitely think. I agree with you. I definitely think there is an interesting thing to explore. If nothing else, well, I don't know if it's really the world because it's more just set in times. That just to explore that kind of adventure archaeology type movie, because they've tried that to rip at least one video game, which was Lara Croft, and that didn't really do so well, and it really wasn't as good or as interesting at least as the video games were.
Yeah, but the video game movies were a tax shelter through German companies.
I didn't say it was good.
It's kind of like open the floodgates for that.
Yeah, it definitely didn't say it was good.
Yeah.
But supposedly the rumor is they're going to make a Uncharted movie, which would be somewhat like it. But I agree with you, Dan. I think they need to get away from that and take the concept and just make something original and interesting.
I mean, the Uncharted games are close enough to movies already. You don't really need to take a movie of a game that has like 50 million cutscenes in it.
Well, so I mean, I guess just change that into a live action then, right? And then you got a movie, because you gotta remember, not everyone plays video games. Even though there's a lot of people that play video games.
Yeah, but they'll never do it because they'll be like, oh, we got to change this and change that, and put a dog in it. And now there's a love interest, and they got to run on the beach.
I have a feeling that Spielberg is doing kind of what Ridley Scott is doing now and what Harrison Ford is doing now, where he wants to kind of revisit his past, because he just signed a deal with Universal Studios, and there's rumors that part of that deal was for him to return to Jaws. And with the new Indiana Jones talk going on, it just seems kind of like, because he wasn't joking when he was talking about Indiana Jones either. It wasn't like the Firefly thing, like, yeah, sure, we'd do it. He was dead set, like, yeah, I want to return. I want Harrison Ford to be in it, and I want to do one more film with him. So maybe he is on that train. And it is, I saw you guys like roll your eyes at the whole Jaws idea. He made the first one. It was really good. Spielberg's track record is good. So if he told me tomorrow that he was doing another Jaws movie, I would give him the benefit of the doubt just because he is a good director. Indiana Jones 4 withstanding. I think that if he got one more chance and George Lucas wasn't involved, I think we could get something good out of Indiana Jones as well. But I kind of like the idea of them bringing in the new guy and doing something in the present, but for some reason there's something going on in the past. They kind of run parallel stories. That would be a good way to do it, because they tried to do that in Last Crusade, introduce River Phoenix as a younger Indiana Jones with plans of making more movies with River Phoenix, and unfortunately that didn't work out. So, it's Spielberg. I have a feeling he is going to revisit some of his past. He's already started with Jurassic Park. He didn't direct it, but he was heavily involved with the making of that movie.
Why am I sideways?
Well, you're neither right now, Max.
Yes.
You're just a picture. So,
Oh, well,
how do you feel about Spielberg? Yep, we got you.
All right. Well, so like they're really talking about making another Indiana Jones movie.
He's serious.
Like I mean, so what you're saying is if somebody went to him right now with the money and was like, they said it was cool, he would actually make the movie, the Indiana Jones movie right now.
It sounded like he was serious. Like I said, it wasn't like a throwaway comment. He sounded like...
That's just, man, just let Indiana Jones die. I would like an Indiana Jones story about like people who got like people in the random tribe that Indiana Jones fucking smashed with a giant boulder because he wanted to steal some artifact. That's the movie I want to see. I mean, I'm like, because I feel like you can't recreate it, you can't recapture anything that like. We're not gonna get back to where we to what we had. It's just give it up. Just give it up.
But Max, all these people are old, and they're trying to they're trying to go back and find their vigor and their old cash cows.
But what surprises me about Spielberg is he's not desperate.
No,
like, he shouldn't be desperate. He's not failing like Ridley Scott is. So.
Or
The
Lucas.
Martian was really good.
Yeah, I heard it was. I heard it was finally his return to glory since Gladiator.
Well, I mean, like, he actually didn't have much to do with why it was good, but
Nice.
Max.
it actually is really good. Visually stunning, which is probably mostly him, but the movie, Matt Damon kills it in that one. Michael Pena is like my he's like my underground actor of the year. That dude he's awesome at everything he does, no matter like what kind of role he's playing. Like in End of Watch, he was awesome. In frickin' Ant-Man, he's awesome. In this movie, he's great. Like he doesn't have a major role, but he's so good. Yeah, that guy, I like that guy in pretty much everything I see him in. But yeah, The Martian's really good. So Ridley Scott.
Sorry, Dan, I cut you off, buddy.
That's okay. No. I was just thinking, why don't we have like a director when he gets older revisit their past and pit everything against each other. Like you'd have like an Indiana Jones versus Jaws versus Haley Joel Osment from AI.
I would see that.
You can't screw up Jaws any more than they already have. So, he's psychic, he's in 3D, he goes like across the world to find one family. The guys from Back to the Future, they did it right. They made 3 movies and then they stopped. Yeah.
You don't hear anybody really say anything bad about the Back to the Future movies. While the third one is the weaker of the 3, it's still a good overall story, and they stopped. Like Max said, Spielberg and them, if they had just stopped after Last Crusade, which a lot of us like to pretend they did, it didn't make 4. Unfortunately, they did make 4. So now they're desperate to clean up the mess they made instead of Philip's going to get into this in a second, but like they interviewed the guys from Back to the Future now because we're at the anniversary, and they're like, no, we're done. We made 3 movies, and as long as I'm alive, you're not going to see any more.
Yeah.
Because they made the movies. They made 3 good, solid movies. It probably is one of the best trilogies ever, and they knew when to stop, and now some of these other guys just don't know when to stop. Like Ridley Scott, now that The Martian is out, he's getting all this good acclaim, is bound and determined to make 57 Alien movies. It's like, come on, man. I get Prometheus. A lot of people really liked it, and a lot of people hated it. There really is no in the middle for that movie, which is weird. Like some people think it's brilliant, some people don't. I've never seen it, but it's like, dude, just make a new original film. Find another book like you did with The Martian and make it into a good movie. You don't need to go back.
He's gonna make The Martian 2.
The Martian 2.
Stuck on Mars again.
You're laughing now, but wait 5 years.
The Martian 2 on Pluto.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I can believe that.
The Plutonian.
Oh no, they've got to call it The Martian 2.
Coming a nice
The
like
Plutonian.
3 movie box set.
Oh, God.
They'll call it the Planet Trilogy.
Oh my. All right, so we're moving on now because I want to get to the happier news.
DVD box set.
Get it now. It's taller than you when you let it all fall out.
Intros from Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, this movie sucks and I hate it, but the game's I'm here.
Oh my. Yeah, so what's that, Jason?
You know the franchises they don't continue. Like if you want to beat a franchise into the ground, which you have, but they still make money. Make Friday the 13th movies every year. Those make you some money, and you're not really going to taint anything that came before because you've already dropped the bed after like 7. So just go back to that. Keep giving. I have a guilty pleasure for Friday the 13th movies. So as long as they follow the formula that was set prior and ignore the Michael Bay crap, dig that into the ground for a little bit.
But first you have to burn Platinum Dunes to the ground.
Here's what you do. You make the sequel to whatever it is you're making. You know, you want to make Friday the 13th, the 27th? That's fine, but you just call it something else. You take all the names of the characters and you change them.
Yeah, but the thing that's the reason they do make sequels to stuff like Friday the 13th is because you've already got the name recognition.
Yeah,
so,
no, that's fine, but I'm just sick of it. Like if anything is past the 3rd one, like I'm getting to this point where I just don't care, you know, and it's like, yeah, I'd rather have 80,000 new things that's all actually the same thing than 80,000 of the same thing.
I just, to make another Prometheus, you're putting $100 million into something that probably isn't going to do so well. So my point was, why not make the Friday the 13th that's $1 million to make, and you're guaranteed to at least double your production.
Your advice is don't do that. Instead, do something else. Yes, everyone agrees with you.
Sorry, Philip.
You all wanted to rant, so I let you all rant.
My plan was to be quiet tonight, and I can't fucking shut up.
Exactly, that's why you're not hosting, which is hilarious. So it was actually Robert Zemeckis who actually made the comment you were talking about, Jason. That basically he said he has no more Back to the Future stories in him. That universe has no more Back to the Future stories. He will never do another one himself. Now, that's all he can really speak for. I don't know if he owns the rights. I didn't go that deep dive into know that, does he die? Does that go to someone else? Or does the studio actually own it? And he just has first dibs? I don't know. But yeah. I think, for me, I'm actually excited to hear that because I'm in agreement with the three of you that some things they should just recognize we're done. That's it. We can't recapture it. It is what it is. Let's move on. Let's tell something new. I thought this was a refreshing news story when I read it. I don't know if there's going to be too much conversation about this because I think this is kind of what you all were looking for. But Dan?
No, that's good. Like, I love Indiana Jones. I just pretend that 4 doesn't exist. Like, I love Back to the Future. It's not that I don't like these things. It's that their time is gone. You know, it's like making a Gremlins 3 now would be a horrible idea.
Now that's
I mean,
inevitable.
yeah, but you're gonna end up with like, I don't know, Justin Timberlake and like the redesigned, Gizmo that, looks like a CGI, tiny bear
Yeah,
with giant ears.
but what's his face? Andy Serkis is gonna do it. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh.
A life-size Gizmo.
Yeah, I was gonna say Justin Timberlake is Gizmo, but go ahead.
No, but I mean, they will go out. I'm convinced that they go out to like break down your childhood. like we're gonna remake Ghostbusters with an all-female cast with people that aren't funny.
Or,
Make that into a good movie.
The Transformers movies. They're like, yeah, we're making 10 more Transformers movies. Isn't that awesome, guys? And I'm just like, oh god, why do you have to keep doing this to me?
Like there's a whole mythos there already? Well, screw that, because I'm freaking Michael Bay. All I do is make shit blow up, and it makes money. It's amazing.
It's yeah. I mean, good for Zemeckis not making Back to the Future movies. Thank you for not subjecting us to that bullshit. Even though I would like to see Christopher Lloyd in more stuff. I really like that guy.
The Piranha movie.
But yeah, good stuff. Good on this guy's doing the right thing. Like it's a story. It was told. It was done. We don't need I like that. We're just pulling out of these people's lives. Like, hey, we started here, we ended here. I don't need to know everything that happened to Marty McFly. You don't need to know everything that happened to Doc Brown. Just let him go. It was a good story. You had fun in the telling. Now we can move on to something else. So I'm very glad, as we've been saying, he's not making these movies. He's not interested in making the movies. So anyone who does take them and give them the bastardization, it's on them. He's keeping his hands clean.
Dude, Zemeckis has to be a genius because he has to own the rights to this stuff, because if the studios owned Back to the Future, we would have had them. And my question to you guys is, if Michael J. Fox, wasn't going through what he's going through now, do you think that we would be still having the same conversation? Do you think the talks would be going on for more Back to the Future? Seriously, I mean, what do you think?
I mean, I would hope that Michael J. Fox would remain as uninterested in coming back to the Future as Zemeckis is. I mean, Parkinson's or no. Again, what are you gonna do? Is it gonna be like Marty McFly's kid goes back in time and has a zany adventure? I mean, there's no good story to tell that you can tell.
I agree with you, Max. Christopher Lloyd needs to be in more stuff. He was the only good thing in Million Ways to Die in the West when he showed up as Doc Brown. I thought that was one of the best cameos I'd ever seen, next to the one in Ted 2 with Liam Neeson, which if you guys haven't seen that, you should, because that was a very funny scene. But no, I'm glad. I'm glad that a filmmaker made the story that he wanted to tell and has no interest in revisiting it. That is a nice breath of fresh air. And how the guy got so lucky to be in charge of that decision, kudos to you, man, because that would never happen nowadays. Because I was watching a documentary about Nightmare on Elm Street, and in order for Wes Craven to make the first Nightmare on Elm Street, he had to sign over all of the rights to the characters, and he never wanted that to be a franchise. And then when they came to him at 2, he was just so upset that he did. So, I mean, kudos to you, Robert Zemeckis, because somehow you managed to keep this trilogy pure. And in my opinion, it's one of the 5 best trilogies of all time, up there with Star Wars, up there with Toy Story. So, I mean, kudos. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice thing to hear. Hopefully we'll get to see more of that in the future, but it is doubtful. I do agree, Jason. The next story, kind of going on sequels, Incredibles 2 actually has a release date, 2019. I don't think we're going to hear a bunch of anger and hate on this one.
I got anger and hate. Go ahead, Max. I'll get to my anger and hate in a minute.
Oh, no. I want to hear your anger and hate.
Okay, so... Incredibles 2, what you said 2019, right?
Yes.
Okay, Toy Story was supposed to come out in 2017. Incredibles was supposed to come out in 2018. They pushed them both back a year to make room for Cars 3, a sequel that nobody wants as far as I'm concerned. I like the first Cars. I've never seen the second one because I don't know anybody who likes the second Cars movie. That is like Pixar's redheaded stepchild that they don't want to talk about. So why are they pushing back? Like Toy Story 4, Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, that franchise gets better with each movie they make, in my opinion, and they're all great. And Incredibles 2 is one of the most wanted films that Pixar has ever done, and they're pushing both of them back a year to make room for Cars 3, a franchise that nobody that I know wants. I mean, have you guys heard anybody want a Cars 3? I haven't. That second movie sucked. That's why I haven't watched it. I watched the first 5 minutes. I was out. And Cars 1, while I liked it, it's nowhere near Pixar standard. It's like a good Disney animated film, but it's not a good Pixar animated film. So why they are pushing back two potentially great sequels for Cars, it blows my mind. I can't even. I mean, I guess Owen Wilson needs to work, but Tim Allen needs to work too. So let's get the good ones out before we push out the crap that nobody wants to see. Sorry. Done.
I like the rant, Jason. I love it. Max?
Yeah. Wow. No, you see, like, but I've been maintaining the stance that I don't believe you when you tell me you're making an Incredibles 2 movie. I don't care if all the people involved in making of Incredibles 2 came to my front fucking door tomorrow and was like, Max, we swear to God, we've all signed these affidavits, we're making Incredibles 2. I still wouldn't believe it. So them pushing it back hypothetically a year doesn't matter because they're not actually making the movie anyway. Yeah, that's my whole stance on it. Incredibles 2 is never coming out, and if it ever does, then I'll believe it and I'll celebrate it then.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Dan?
I don't care. But Jason cares enough for like 5 of us, so it's perfectly okay.
I do care because I like Pixar movies, Ratatouille, Finding Nemo, all 3 Toy Stories,
Okay,
The Incredibles.
If any of you had 8,000 kids running around like Jason does, you would appreciate Pixar movies more
Okay.
too.
So I do appreciate Pixar.
Wall-E. Sorry.
I am sure that the first Incredibles was very good. I have not seen it, but
What?
you all love it.
Go, Max.
It's like the fucking best one, dude. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Only on 3 Geeks podcast can you be talking about a Pixar movie and hear Max say fuck twice and hear me say fuck a few times too. I think I just said it twice. Something.
Fuck, Dan. You gotta watch that movie. That's what we're watching next on Animaniacs. End of story.
That's fun.
You guys will get some hits for that.
Oh, yeah, you will.
Ridiculous. I can't believe you've never seen Incredible.
But you're getting Master of the Flying Guillotine the next.
No, I'm making you watch a good movie. You're not making me watch crap.
No.
Oh my God. Never seen fucking Incredibles. What the hell is wrong with you?
Oh, man. Okay, so moving on from that, I'm definitely, I am kind of like Max. I'm cautiously optimistic. Actually, I'm not like Max, because Max is basically negative. I'm actually optimistic that it will happen, and it will be good when it comes out. But it's when it comes out is going to be the problem. I don't understand why it's taken them this long. Originally, I understood because they didn't want to make sequels, and they were trying to avoid that for the longest time. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. You want to tell original stories. And then they started making tons of sequels, and I was like, wait a minute, what's happening here? You need to make one of your better movies. What's that,
the Pixar problem with sequels is, I mean, with the exception of Toy Story, they are the exception to the rule, but the Pixar movies typically work more for adults that kids can enjoy, and when they go into the sequel territory, for some reason, with the exception of Toy Story, they aim more towards the kids, which is what Cars 2 was, and Monsters University was more geared towards kids.
Yep.
And it's like, no, just follow your formula, because it works so well, and which I like Monsters University, but it was a huge step down. It was definitely a kids' film more so than the original was. So just follow your formula. Like, The Incredibles is about a middle-aged man dealing with what to do now that his life isn't what it used to be. Like, that is a great story for adults. Just when you make the sequel, finally, don't dumb it down. Please, give us what we expect. Please, I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think there's enough to touch on. And then this should be the last news story to make everyone happy here. Well, moderately happy, cautiously happy. I guess I better go that way. But so the studio has guaranteed or permitted, we'll say permitted, that they're allowed to make an R-rated story for Batman: The Killing Joke. So Max, you're a resident Batman fan. How does this make you feel?
Well, it's Disney or not Disney. It's DC animated, so I mean, like, it's gonna be good. They could probably pull it off with PG-13 anyway. I'm interested to see how it goes. I was happy when I found out they were making it. So I mean, like, the R rating, I don't know, even though that they need it. I don't know that it'll benefit from. I mean, I guess now it can be more, a little more gory, a little more and put it in a darker place. But DC animated has got pretty dark with a PG-13 rating. I mean, it's like, I've never really been like, wow, it's not like you're watching The Dark Knight, or The Dark Knight Rises, and you're like, Jesus, where's the blood? Like, they get away with a bunch, and yeah. So I mean, the R rating is good. I mean, I'm glad that they're giving these guys kind of freedom to do what they want to do, but I don't know that it was even wholly necessary, just because they usually get to do what they want to do anyway.
Yeah, I'm curious about the R rating because the Dark Knight Returns was borderline. I mean, it was close to an R film when they made it, the animated one. So a part of me can't wait to see what an R-rated Joker looks like. Like, I can't fathom it. And with the Dark Knight Returns already being borderline R,
that was an
that?
R-rated Joker. He gave like poison cotton candy to a bunch of kids, and they showed.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what is the next step to justify saying that it's going to be rated R? Like, what is going to happen? I'm curious, in that in of itself is what's the line that they're going to push it that much further? Like, I can't. I'm curious. I want to see an R-rated Joker, and I agree with Max. Disney animation, for the most part, can't do any wrong. Yeah.
The only thing that I'm sorry, I keep on busting in, but it's just that with the nature of what the Joker does to Barbara Gordon is the only thing I see pushing it to an R rating. Because in that story, some people think she gets raped. Some, it's kind of debatable, but she's definitely shown kind of naked, bleeding to death, and I think that's what's going to get them the R rating, is how far they push that.
Interesting, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, R rating or not, I wasn't a big fan of their version of the Red Hood. I've already got the comic of this one. I'm not really seeing it better than the comic, but I'll pick it up.
Definitely. I'm curious to see how far all the violence goes, because I mean, even if it's just that simple Barbara Gordon scene, I mean, even if it is that, well, I guess because you have to include that. Yeah, because I agree with you, Max. I think they could cut pieces of that and make it PG-13. So it'll be interesting if that's going to be the only scene, though, because I wonder if they're going to try and push it more elsewhere. So it'll be kind of interesting to see where they go with that, though. Go ahead, Dan, or Max, I mean.
I was just going to say, I mean, like, the comic book is incredibly short, so they also have to add a bunch of material right now. They're probably going to flesh out the Joker and his life some more. So, I mean, like, there's places for it to get super dark or super weird, but again, it's like, I don't know that they needed the R rating, but yeah, I mean, hey, I'm glad that they're not afraid of the R rating.
Nice. Yeah. And I see we have Pennywise, the dog, joining us.
No, anymore.
No, I know he ran away. But so that's it for news. Does anyone else have anything else, or I'll hop on to video game news?
I do want to interject and say that if you're listening to us on iTunes, which I know a lot of you are, and we all thank you very much, our after shows are doing really well. So please continue to listen. Take 5 minutes when you go home and rate and review. It helps us a lot too. We're moving up a lot of spots on iTunes. Our Heroes review is in the top 2 rows, which is awesome. And the people ahead of us is literally a Heroes podcast that takes up the rest of the slots. Our Gotham
Yeah.
review was in the first row, which is really cool. Our Blacklist review is also doing extremely well. Our Flash review is doing extremely well. So we thank you. If you're watching us on iTunes, just take 2 seconds, hit the like button right there. Should be right there.
Watching this on YouTube.
Domo Batman, I know you're watching our cast. If you could take 5 seconds, go over to iTunes, leave us a quick review, and keep up the comments because you're helping propel our podcast quite a bit on there. So we thank you personally for it.
Right,
Joe, thanks for being on the cast last week.
Did you guys notice some like African dude putting his stuff up on our?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are we gonna allow that? Like, is that cool?
I think that's spam. He's trying to get a job.
Yeah, he really wanted a job. I don't know.
I think it's
Let that guy in.
that will be one of the things Max apologizes for on the next podcast.
We'll let that guy in.
But
Don't want that guy.
apparently, Animaniacs is going to review The Incredibles sometime this week. Is it this week, Max?
Maybe.
Yeah, possibly. It depends
Alright.
on work and other things.
Philip, me, and my wife and his fiance are going to review Aladdin this weekend. It just came out on Blu-ray, so look for that. Also, check out Sports Nerds, which, in my opinion, is one of the best casts that we have on the channel. Max gets into a lot of racial topics sometimes that have nothing to do with sports. It's a lot of fun.
Batman and shit too.
It's just fun to see. It's fun to see Philip and Mike just with their hands over their heads, just doing this, while Max is just going off about things that Philip and Mike can't talk about. So
Yes, they can.
I highly recommend Sports Nerds. Shaolin Sofa, where Max and Dan review Kung Fu flicks, is also a lot of fun to watch. So keep that out. Next week we're reviewing Back to the Future. Next week Marty McFly comes to the future, so we will look at the trilogy. It'll probably be towards the end of the week, but definitely look for that. And yeah, just thanks everybody for all the support. We're working on trying to figure out which cons we're going to next week, or next year. So keep an eye out.
That was quick.
Keep an eye out for that because we're hoping to hit the con scene more than once. So that's all I got, Philip.
All right. Max?
Stuff.
What's up?
Oh, okay. I thought you were still excited to say something, so I was going to let you butt back in. But
Oh.
all right.
Oh no, we're good.
Okay. All right. So on to video game news. So out this week, the most interesting game is Yoshi's Woolly World. It's a Wii U exclusive, of course. It's actually an interesting take on. It's the yarn take that they did with. Oh, I can't remember. It was Kirby, but I can't remember. Was it Kirby's Epic Yarn, something like that?
Yeah, Kirby's Epic Yarn.
And so it definitely looks interesting. They actually, so if you're really into Amiibo, they made a plush Amiibo that's actually made of yarn for the game. So that'll be coming out. I'm sure that'll be extremely popular. So what was interesting, this is the one I want to talk about that's out this week. I don't really care, but it's Goosebumps the game. And I'm trying to remember the last time a console game got released for a movie tie-in. Like Lego Movie, maybe? Is that the last one that I can think of? I mean, it's been a while, because usually they're mobile-only releases, right?
Mad Max.
That wasn't a tie-in to the movie. It just happened to be a tie-in to the universe, and they got lucky that the movie came out this year, to be honest. Otherwise, they would have released it in the same month it got released.
Yeah, but apparently they really rushed the game to get it out close to the movie.
Oh, okay. Well, that could explain some things. Because it was okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Like, it wasn't intentional, right? They didn't build it. I remember hearing about that. It's interesting because it's interesting that they're releasing it because they've always been mobile now in the last few years. Because every time I remember there's an Avengers movie that comes out, hey, Android notifies me there's this new Avengers mobile game. You want to play? Max, no comments there? Oh, you're coughing. All right. So moving on. Thought that one would be more interesting, some more comments, but so what's interesting is there's going to be no voice chat in Star Wars Battlefront. So I don't know how many of you all play first-person shooters. Does everyone here play first-person shooters at least at one point or another?
Yeah,
No,
I suck at
Max
them.
doesn't. Jason, I know you do. Dan, you do?
First person shooter.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you play third-person shooters? How about that? Do you play
Yeah,
Star Wars third-person shooters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Third person I can deal with.
All right. So what's cool about this got me excited. This might anger some, like 6 to 13-year-old kids around the world that won't be able to curse and use foul language.
Say the N-word repeatedly.
Foul
Yeah.
language.
Well, you can pick your wide gamut. I'm not really going to go into everything that people use.
Motherfucker!
There you go. Jason's got it going on.
You stupid
Um,
son of a bitch! Fuck you! Shit! Damn Negro! Fuck me! Fuck you!
Now
Oh,
it's
God.
okay.
I can just hide behind my little microphone and say foul racial words that nobody will know that I'm saying because I'm a little 5-year-old white kid who has
My
a lot
favorite-
of time on my hands.
My favorite is when you hear the parents hear what they're saying, though.
Yeah, yeah.
There's been a couple choice times where I've been playing a game and the kid be mouthing off, and then you hear like, "What did you just say?"
Oh, that would be
No.
awesome. I've never had that experience.
My favorite is when their parents are trying to tell them to do something, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
I can't take out the trash yet. I got 10 minutes left in the match. That's funny. Like, Mom, I don't want to go eat now.
That motherfucker just raped me in the ass.
Well, usually it's the other way around.
That's exact dialogue that I've heard from a child on first-person shooters.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, the good news is we will no longer be subject to it because they have disabled all voice chat except for party chat. So if you actually want to hear people talk, you can hear people talk. If you don't want to
That's
hear people
great.
talk, you don't hear them at all. And
And-
on the PC, it's a separate client.
And a disclaimer, parents, please teach your kids what the word rape means, because if they think playing Call of Duty is somebody raping them, they're in for a lot of trouble if somebody actually wants to. Please make sure they know the difference, because if somebody says that and they get in a van thinking they're going to go play Call of Duty, they're in for a world of hurt, literally. I'm sorry.
That wasn't Call of Duty at all.
Philip, I went from wanting to be quiet to channeling my inner Max. Can you believe that?
Why are you fucking Intermax? How the fuck did I get this? Like there's a little foul-mouthed black asshole on everybody's head somewhere.
Yes.
No, not the case.
Yeah, I figured I had to bring that one up. I figured that one would get some interesting conversation because I've always hated that it's mostly Call of Duty that I generally hear that in. But I don't play very many first-person shooters anymore, so I can't really say. But it sounds like Max and Dan have had that experience, and they don't play first-person shooters, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like you have to play a little bit because it's the freaking new day where first-person shooters are king over everything, and nobody's having fun unless you're playing a first-person shooter or some stupid biz.
Or some giant MMO you got to pay for monthly.
Yeah.
Yay.
But, every now and again you do get that nugget of goodness, some kid gets yoked up or something, and it's funny.
Yes.
Fuck!
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm jealous that you all both have had that experience. I haven't yet to have that experience because that would be awesome. Oh my god, I'd be laughing my ass off.
Oh, it's great.
The best part is trolling the kid afterwards, like, oh, yeah, what your mom got to say now?
Hey kid, you gonna take the trash out or what? Come on, I mean we're already beating you by 12 kills.
You'd probably be doing your team a favor
I mean
if you
you
went
can
and
go
got
now. It's not gonna do anything, kid.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so that was it for video game news. Max, any comic news?
In comic book news, I'm sorry that I pretty much mostly only have comic book news about Marvel and DC, but Deadpool's joining the Avengers. In keeping with the Deadpool hype train that's going on, they're throwing him on the Avengers just to just keep the name recognition going out there. Deadpool. So
He's a
you
new
guys can
Wolverine.
all look forward to that. Jason, aren't you excited about Deadpool?
I am excited about Deadpool. He is the new Wolverine. He's gonna be in everything. All I gotta say is I hope this movie doesn't suck because everybody's going into it with such high expectations, and Marvel is obviously the comic book division putting a lot of money into promoting Deadpool. So I really hope it pays off as good as I think it's going to. And I love Deadpool. And Deadpool, if Fox and Marvel could ever work out a deal, Deadpool is the only character that could successfully cross over because he is so consciously aware of what's going on that they could kind of shoehorn him into the Avengers franchise without it totally messing everything up. So we'll see. I like Deadpool. I like Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is finally going to hopefully be in a good superhero film. The guy is a good actor. I think he could do it.
Oh yeah, it'll definitely be entertaining to kind of see how.
Who cares about fucking Deadpool the movie? Deadpool joined the Avengers.
Is he in the Avengers movie now?
No,
Maybe.
not the Avengers movie. The more important Avengers comic book.
Oh. But they're not paying $2 billion for a freaking comic book, dude. They're paying $2 billion for these 2 movies.
Dude, 50,000 people might read this.
Yeah, right.
Dude, I heard those stats. That is crazy. The highest selling comic book weekly is 50,000 copies. Like, I thought comic books would be more than that because of how many people. That's how many people went to Ohio Comic Con was 50,000 people. You're telling me that that's all that reads the comic books?
Yes.
I don't. That blows my mind because you got to think other cons are getting more than 50,000 people.
Yeah, that's why comic book conventions are more like TV movie conventions with wrestlers.
Yes.
Video games.
Because if it was just us, they wouldn't make any money.
No, the smaller cons you go to, those are comic book conventions.
Yeah.
That's all I got, Philip.
All
Max,
right.
you got more?
I think Max is done. I think Max is tapped out.
I am tapped out.
Well,
Okay.
Oh yeah, here we go. Tapped out. Like I'm playing Magic: The Gathering. Bam. Here's your nerd reference.
Well, here we go. Here's a news story that we didn't talk about yet. Kane Hodder, which Dan knows that name, is going to reprise his role as Jason Voorhees in a video game that's coming out next year.
Jason Voorhees?
Yeah, they're making a Friday the 13th game, finally.
He's going to reprise his role as a dude who walks around and doesn't say anything?
Hey, you could hate the guy all you want, but the movies that he's in are the better of the Friday the 13th
No, I'm
films.
just saying, it's a video game.
Yeah, but it's going to be motion capture, so
It's an interactive movie now, Max. That's what video games are.
Whatever. Who cares?
It's like the Mortal Kombat game, you know? I mean, we're going to show you a video, and then 5 minutes in, we're going to have you hit a button to make sure you're still watching the video.
Yeah, and he's going to these conventions, Max, so he's got to add something new to his resume, so when he's there signing autographs, he can be like, I was in the Friday the 13th game last year, or in the future. So, yeah, there you go, because like you said, it's all one now.
But is this game going to be as good as the old NES game?
I hope so, man. That old NES game, that gave me some good Nintendo controller throwing moments.
Because everybody hates it except me, apparently, but okay.
Yeah, I hate it.
But it has Jason's mother's head.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
my.
so yeah, again, like us on YouTube, subscribe, share our Facebook page. We are so close to cracking 400. So thank you all again for the support. A lot of videos coming through our channel. Me, Max, and Mike are working on an awesome collaboration, which if you saw last week's podcast, you kind of have an idea of what that is. So definitely be on the lookout for that. We still got to talk to Mike about it to make sure he's in because he's the talent of this whole operation. Without Mike, then we have no video. So, and even though Mike's not here, I want to give him a shout out. Go to youtube.com/MikeMcGTV. There will be a link to that in this video. So, yeah, check out all Mike's stuff. He's got an awesome video that he filmed at Columbus Comic Con, a music video parody for Suicide Squad, Men in Black. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. Other stuff, more stuff coming down the lines of us working together. So definitely check out what Mike's got going on. And, yeah, do we have anything else to plug, promote?
Nope. I think we're good, Jason.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching and the support. We appreciate it. We do have a fan funding thing that we're going to be starting soon, which we'll give more of that soon. So have a great night.
I can't wait to not get any money from anybody for that.
And fun day.
Thank